So you want to read Star Wars Legends, but you're a busy dad and you only have about 20 minutes a night to actually sit down and read, and you're just curious, where can I start? There's about 150 books in Star Wars Legends. I get it, and sometimes not all of them necessarily need to be read. So tonight I'm going to give you 3 cool places that you can start depending on what you really enjoy. Right out of the gate, I'm going to recommend Heir to the Empire by Timothy Zahn. This is the golden era of Star Wars. This takes place just a few years after Return of the Jedi. This is the sequel trilogy that we never really got. This is such an extraordinary place to start because you don't need a whole lot of Jedi history or to understand all the lore. If you've seen the movies, especially just the original trilogy, you can come into this and pick right up. There's 3 books in this series, starting with Heir to the Empire and, of course, Dark Force Rising and The Last Command. All 3 of these books introduce some new characters that we get to see in Star Wars, the expanded universe, and one of the coolest villains that we've ever experienced. But you also get Han and Leia and 3PO and R2-D2 and Chewie, and everything that we loved about the original series is right here in it. So right there, start with Heir to the Empire. That is like the golden place to start, and that's the place that most people actually recommend everybody begin. Maybe you don't want the Jedi. Maybe you don't want the Force. Maybe you want something that's a little bit more fast-paced, action-oriented, and feels like military science fiction. Well, I would recommend my personal favorite story in the entire expanded universe, and that, of course, is X-Wing Rogue Squadron by Michael Stackpole. You get the sense of that this story is absolutely different. This is a group of pilots and a group of soldiers and the friendships and the bonds that they form as they fight to really be that force that fights for the New Republic. This is so good and so fun. The first 4 books in the entire X-Wing series, I think, are some of the best books and are essential to understanding Legends in so many ways. I think you actually need to understand those 4 books before you get to New Jedi Order, but this is a great place to start. It's one of those that's just different. It's fast-paced. It's fun. It feels episodic. You can set this book down after, reading it for only 20 minutes and not feel like you're closing the book on a 600-page Jedi Force history novel. I mean, you get so much here with these characters, and they're so amazing, so cool. I absolutely love this series. This is one of the reasons that it's my favorite, is because I love seeing the friendships and love seeing some of the characters that we didn't necessarily get in the original trilogy. This is a great place to start. So if you're interested in military sci-fi, check it out, X-Wing Rogue Squadron. Now, maybe you're like, JJ, I like all that, but I want something a little bit more darker, a little bit more grittier. Well, I'm going to recommend Star Wars Path of Destruction, which is book 1 in the Darth Bane trilogy. All of these books are incredible within this trilogy, starting with Path of Destruction, moving on towards Rule of Two. You get sort of the beginnings of the Sith in a way. You start to see how things begin to take shape, their philosophy, who they are, the Rule of Two, and you start to really understand the history of the dark side. It's very interesting. These books take place about 1,000 years before Star Wars: A New Hope, and so I would recommend starting here if you're really looking for something that's unique and different, that's a little bit more grittier. This is a great place to begin, and I highly recommend them. Now, maybe you don't really have time to sit down and read every single night. I understand that. I'm a dad too. I work. I do several different jobs, contract-wise as well. And sometimes I only have maybe 15, 20 minutes a day. But I would not forget about the Essentials audiobook collection. These books are so well produced in audiobook, and so you can listen to them on your commute. You can listen to them around the house when you're doing laundry or work or yard work or projects. You can listen to them when you're exercising. Sometimes it's not necessarily finding more time to read. Sometimes it's just making the best use of the time we already have. So don't forget about picking up the audiobooks. You can check them out on Hoopla and other places like Libby. They're very cool. They're very well done. The narration is really cool, and they really pulls you into the story. So if you have trouble with just sitting down and finding the time to actually read, go check out the Legends audiobooks. They're all amazing. And if you're a busy dad, don't forget to subscribe. We're trying to build a community right here of different readers and guys who are just done with the scroll and just want to pick up a book and read and relax a little bit. I'm JJ. This is Geeky Dads Reads, and I'll see you all in the next video. Later.